Have you ever pondered what inherent entitlements all people possess, simply by existing? Imagine rights so fundamental, they precede any government or law. This powerful concept ignited revolutions and reshaped entire societies across Europe and beyond. In Enlightenment philosophy, natural rights are universal, inalienable entitlements bestowed upon individuals by nature or by God, rather than by human law. These rights were considered inherent to being human and formed the essential foundation for legitimate governance and societal structures. The core mechanism behind natural rights stems directly from the Enlightenment's profound emphasis on human reason and individualism. Philosophers like John Locke eloquently argued that, in a state of nature, prior to organized society, people inherently possessed rights to life, to liberty, and to property. Locke posited that a government's primary purpose was solely to protect these pre-existing natural rights, asserting that if it failed, the people retained the right to resist or even to overthrow it. Jean-Jacques Rousseau further developed this intellectual framework with his concept of the social contract, suggesting that individuals voluntarily agree to cede certain freedoms for the collective protection of society, but never their fundamental natural rights. These influential thinkers firmly believed that these rights were discoverable through rational thought alone, rather than being arbitrarily granted by monarchs or established religious institutions. They were viewed as self-evident truths, universally applicable to everyone, irrespective of their social standing or national origin. This truly revolutionary idea meant that all governance should ideally be based on the explicit consent of the governed, and it should be unequivocally committed to safeguarding individual liberties above all else. This philosophical shift led directly to the articulation of human rights in seminal documents, including the American Declaration of Independence in 1776 and the French Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen in 1789. These declarations were not merely theoretical exercises. They served as practical blueprints for establishing governments whose very legitimacy derived from their adherence to protecting these fundamental entitlements. They transformed political discourse by asserting that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the people they govern. A key insider detail is the distinction between natural rights and positive rights. Natural rights are inherent and exist independently of law, while positive rights are those explicitly granted and protected by a government or legal system. Understanding this difference illuminates the Enlightenment's radical assertion that rights are not gifts from the state, but rather fundamental attributes of humanity that the state must recognize and defend. It also explains why the concept of a limited government, one constrained by the rights of its citizens, became such a central tenet of Enlightenment political thought. Ultimately, the concept of natural rights provided a powerful intellectual framework that challenged absolute monarchies and fueled democratic revolutions worldwide. It established the enduring principle that every individual possesses inherent dignity and certain entitlements that no power, human or divine, can legitimately take away. This philosophical legacy continues to shape contemporary discussions about human rights, civil liberties, and the foundational responsibilities of governments to their citizens, underscoring the profound impact of Enlightenment thinking on our modern understanding of justice and freedom.